Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Rabbi Stephen, Rav Shmuel ben Yehoshua, Rashbi in the house. So this week, as you can tell, we're a little bit more somber because we had Sherry Reader's Memorial on Tuesday, and I want to thank everybody that showed up. Such an outpouring of love and affection and consideration and compassion for someone who was such a driving force in the community. Again, she was part of 3 congregations. She served on the boards of her old, I believe, Temple Beth Shalom. She also served, of course, on Congregation B'nai Chaim in multiple capacities, secretary and Ways and Means. She was great at getting things done. She was a presence Saturday morning, loved the Jewish community, and she's going to be missed so much. And again, thank you for everybody who came out to support her. So, death is one of the things that we face. It's one of the life cycle events that we do. As a rabbi, it's something I deal with all the time. And speaking of life cycle events, let's go ahead and segue into into this week's portion, Vayeira. So, this week, we have Abraham, who is dealing with one life cycle event. He's just been circumcised. He's sitting in his tent. And his tent, by the way, as the sages say, were open on all 4 sides so he could see when people were coming, because Abraham loved to play host. And as a host, even recovering, they say that it takes 3 days to get over a circumcision. There he is, putting people's needs ahead of his own. So 3 strangers showed up, and of course we know that they're angels and they're sent by Hashem. And each angel has a different purpose. Now, let's look at the word angel. What is the word angel? Malach. Malach means messenger. And the sages tell us that the word malach also comes from the word malachot, which is, they say, work. I interpret it as task, because the word in Hebrew avodah means work. Oved, I work. And malachah, of course, we know somebody once said there's no such thing as a synonym. So malachah is more like a task. So you've got, in Shabbat, you've got the 39 malachot, the tasks that we don't do. So it's interesting that an angel is a messenger and they're sent to do a task, each one a specific task. One angel was there to tell him that Sarah would give birth to a son, Sarah at the ripe young age of 89, and that also Sodom would be destroyed, and that he would be the beginning of multitude of, and also that he would be the father of a multitude of people, and that his generations would spend 400 years in an exile, which includes the stay in Egypt. Now, some of you who know a little bit of Hebrew might say, well, wait a minute, the word malach, that sounds like the word for king, melech. That's right, it's the same root, melech, yimloch, to rule. So ultimately in Judaism, what is a king but really the ultimate civil servant? Now, many other peoples, the king is the ruler, his word goes, and that's the way it is. It's all about decrees. And in Judaism, we know that a decree is something that's being promulgated by some authority. Just, we don't know why, we don't care why, it doesn't matter why, you just do it. Judaism is a little different. We've got some decrees like kashrut, the red heifer, those are decrees. We're not sure why, but we know that we just do it. Not a big deal. Well, for some of us anyway. Some of us, it's a very big deal to keep kosher, right? But that's what it is. But in Judaism, the king is beholden to the Torah, not just as much as the rest of us, but even more so, because the king is there to rule based on the Torah. The Torah really is the ultimate rule. The king is the messenger. The king just tells you what the Torah says and says this is what we got to do, and that's it, right? So you have the 3 angels, and and of course, Abraham, and he is Abraham right now, as of this point, does not know they're angels. But he serves them. He thinks they're humans. He serves them. Tells his, goes off and gets curds and whey for them to refresh themselves. Washes their feet. Has one of his servants go off and prepare a calf. Now, some people say, well, wait a minute. Don't the laws of kashrut say that you don't have milk and meat together? And some people say, well, this is before the commandments, the Torah was given before the commandments were given, so there's really no prohibition against serving milk and meat. I beg to differ, because if you look at the order, and again, the Torah is all about a flow. If you look at the flow, if you look at the order, what's going on? He says he serves them curds and whey, and then, okay, and then. So it comes after the and. So first we have the serving of the dairy, then we have the meat. So again, consider the fact that these patriarchs were just so in tune with Hashem that they knew, they instinctively, that, well, let's do the milk, and then we'll do the meat, which you can do, by the way. It's only after the meat that you got to wait either an hour if you're Dutch, 3 hours if you're Sephardic, 6 hours if you're real Ashkenazic and Orthodox, before you can have dairy again. I believe that when Cantor Joe was here, his wife was a nurse. He said, she said, it takes 3 hours for the stomach to digest food. So 3 hours, some of us do a little shorter, some a little longer, whatever. So we have the famous bargaining that goes on after the angels leave, or the men leave, or the two angels leave, because now the one's given his message that Sarah's going to have a kid, who will be circumcised, by the way, after 8 days. And Abraham says, well, Hashem, let's talk. Remember Joan Rivers? Let's talk. Right? Abraham was the first one. Maybe she got it from him. Okay, maybe she rest in peace too. So let's talk. I get that. Sodom, they're a bunch of idiots, and they're not nice people. They're evil, wicked people. They're morally compromised, let's say. And but what are you going to destroy all of them if we can find 50 people, 50 righteous people? Will you destroy them? And Hashem says, no, for 50. Oh, what? What about 50 minus 5? What about 45? So Abraham starts that very famous Jewish process of bargaining and negotiating, gets them all the way down to 10 people. And he says, this is it. Okay, 10 people, we're good. Okay, Hashem's like, fine, for 10 people. So there weren't 10 people. And the two remaining angels, end up going to Sodom when they visit Lot, who is now going from a tent on the outskirts to now he's done very well for himself, so he's living in the middle of the city. They go in, and what does the Torah say? It says that men young and old knew. They didn't like, they were very xenophobic. That was one of their issues. They didn't like strangers. They go, they confront Lot, and they said, bring these people out here. We want those men. How dare they enter our community, young and old? So the point of saying young and old basically is telling us there weren't any righteous people, young and old. That's everybody. All the people, all the townspeople came. These people were beyond redemption. So here we go. We're going to have the fire and brimstones come raining down on Sodom, and the angels are telling them, get your family and let's leave. You better leave. And don't look back, because if you do, what happens when you're running and you look back, you slow down and bam. So they rain this sulfur. And sulfur is actually the Latin word that comes out for brimstone. So, and they look at it historically, and the Eitz Chaim Chumash that I've been reading this year is interesting because it talks historically about the fact that a bunch of natural phenomena converged to bring on the destruction of Sodom, Gomorrah, and there was like the other cities that were there. And what happens is that this area used to have earthquakes. So they say that there was an earthquake, and it opened up the ground, and geysers came out, and then there was lightning that ignited the sulfur, and that's what caused all the mess. Some historians said, yeah, but that happened way before this situation. So you decide. We've heard many cases where they look at history and they try to match it to what happened in the Torah, and this is when the idea of acceptance. I don't like to use the word faith because, some rabbis say, well, when Moses got the 10 Commandments, he got it in front of 3 million people, 2.5 million people, all the people that left Egypt. There they were, and the reason why they didn't hear all the commandments, because God gave the first commandment. People are like, whoa, we can't handle this. Moses, you do it, you deal with it, and that's cool. We're convinced. So it happened in front of everybody. That's what's unique about Judaism. Everybody sees what goes on. So the point is this. That just like the Sabbath song, even though evil seems to flourish, their doom is sure to come because yours is the ultimate triumph. And this is part of the inspiration for that song. is the fact that, as much as evil seems to flourish, their doom is sure to come. And Sodom's doom came. However it came. Whether somebody got the history wrong, whether it was some other phenomena, whatever it was, that's the point. Okay? So, thank you again for listening, and thank you for having shown your appreciation for Sherry Reeder. She will be missed. We had planned on having a Friday night service November 15th. That's a week from this Shabbat. But because we've been real involved in this event for Sherry, so we're going to push it back a week. We'll see you Friday, November 22nd. Okay, that will be the date of our Friday night service here at our own little budding sanctuary, and we hope to come. We've got some books for you. I've got a sermon written, and I hope it'll be interesting. Hope you like it. And again, thanks for your support. And if you don't come here, go somewhere else. Stand up for Shabbat, observe Shabbat, show your appreciation, show your support for the Jewish community. Thank you very much. Shabbat Shalom.